Tensura What If? Silver Timeline by CBCTEBAS Chapter 57 Trouble Brewing 1. It has been thousands of years after Runa and Agni's ascension as the new vessel of the power of the great spirits of fire and water. They have evolved into the Sun Jin and Moon Jin. What is the meaning of all of this? Rimuru sobbed as he read the report. There has been an increase in the cryptid activity in the entire multiverse. The reasons are currently unknown and Jahil is leading the investigation. Seriously, that stupid insect isn't doing his job properly. Recalling Zelus, who was supposed to manage the numbers of the cryptids. Rimuru leaned on his chair as he thought of what to do next. At the moment they have been increasing their numbers, not just as Rimuru's subordinates, but the followers of the so-called Silver Faith. It seems that more than half of the multiverse has already been converted to that faith. As such, they know that they are protected by Rimuru and the other primordials, or as they are called, cardinals. There have been several suggested Arcana members from those who are Zelus. But aside from the original ones, most of them don't have as much potential as the others. Well, not all of them. There are individuals like D. Hermit and Lendik Justice that are still alive, and probably stronger than the majority of them. D is someone that rarely leaves her world, or more like she doesn't want to cooperate. She was forced to work by Diablo though, and reluctantly helped from time to time only. Lendi was a dragon that Carrera found. She seems to have a way with finding beasts. Unfortunately for the beasts, they were forced to be tamed by the blonde primordial. Although at first Lendi was incooperative, once he realized the job assigned to him, he started to obey, although he still has some qualms about his leader's way of destroying things. Asterisk 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 in a certain universe, devoid of any celestial bodies as far as the universe expands. A lone, extremely large planet floats. Inside the planet was a land full of large snakes, coiling with each other, performing acts to increase their numbers. To the deepest part of the planet, to the place where the core was supposed to be in, coils a large serpent. It should be a good time, a deep voice echoed throughout the crevices of the area. My beloved children, come and raise chaos. 10 figures bowed their heads as they entered a portal opened for them. Kukuku, how will you respond? Watcher, the serpent sent a wave to the entire Multiverse. A few of the snakes that it's planted have all responded to the wave. Go, be of use to me. Several portals also opened on the surface where most of the snakes continue to increase their numbers. They all crawled into different portals and invaded the world they arrived in. Asterisk 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 Zelus was as usual eliminating the cryptids that have increased excessively. Zelus Sama, an insectar, approached him. There seems to be an increase of snake types in the cryptids. Also a portal appeared, and several thousands of cryptids of all kinds escaped. While not shown on his face, Zelus wanted to frown. He wasn't dense to not notice the increase in the certain type of cryptid over the thousands of years. In fact, he had his Pleiades children looked into it, though he doesn't have any plan on sharing the information. He only nodded to the insectar before traveling to the center of the problem. A portal was indeed there. He ordered his subordinates to defend the gate and not let any cryptid leave anymore. He ordered the insectar to go to the angels to have them guard the portal while the insects eliminate the escapees. Come. Zelus with his army of elites walked past the portal. Zelus was surprised. In front of him was a world filled with hundreds if not thousands of portals. And in between those portals the cryptids fight with each other. Majority of them are snake types fighting the other cryptids. One of the snakes that was 3 meters long bit a cryptid 3 times its size. After biting, the snake removed its fangs from the skin and looked for a different prey. The cryptid that was bitten started to grow dizzy and its eyes blinked several times. The eye shape changed and turned to a more snake-like eyes. The skin started hardened similar to scales of a snake. Then, it started to attack the other non-snake type cryptids, slashing at them and biting as it roared. Zelus concluded, the snakes really are a unique type, similar to them. The snakes have the ability to turn others into snake-like creatures, or at least be able to turn them into allies. Don't let them leave through the portals. Guard them all, Zelus ordered. The insects started to move. They grouped themselves into 100 per portal. Because the insects have found a safe home, they were able to reproduce and increase their numbers. In fact, the current number of insects in their home universe is more than 1 billion. Though, the number does not increase or decrease no matter how long. That is because every month, they held a battle royal of sorts that forces them to fight each other for a whole 3 days. The survivors will procreate to make up for the number of death, and in the next month will fight again, repeating this cycle. It was a way to search for the best insects that hold potentials to be strong. The insects that Zelus brings with him to the blank universe where Ivaraj was sealed, are those that survive a minimum of 100 years. They number only on the 100,000s and are all A+ insects. In Citadel, the alarms were going off. The Cherifes and Aqua sprites keep on passing though the gates. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that the entire multiverse was experiencing a wave of snake monster attacks. What's more, they increase in numbers by biting their prey until eventually they turn into a full snake as well. They're like zombies. Rimuru commented, as he looked through the visuals, in the new building that they added 1,000 years ago. The command center. The place where the list of universe and reports are all compiled together and shown on the several large screen made by Lilith. Tell the primordials to focus on their domains. Rimuru ordered, have the captain class Enkis and Sirens bring more than 1,000 Sheriff and Aqua sprites on each universe they go to. Anyone bitten is permitted to be eliminated immediately. Be boss. Lilith, who was observing one of the screens, shouted. A request on the Norse universe. Jormungandr seems to have awoken and is hundreds of times stronger than expected. The subordinates we placed there have died, and more than half of the 9 realms, have been destroyed already. Rimuru frowned, he clicked his tongue. Isn't that the place where we have some jinn? After the evolution of Agni and Runa, the best 100 of their descendants, subordinates, all evolved into fire and water jinn. Yes. Agni, who was near, answered shamefully. Rimuru-sama, I'll go. Runa suggested as she saw the large serpent devouring the residents of the world. Alright, you two are going to Norse universe. Luckily it's in Central, so the primordials can focus on their own areas without worry. Rimuru pointed to Agni and Runa, who bowed and left the place with 10 of their subordinates following them. After a few minutes they can see on the visual of Runa and Agni fighting the large serpent. It's quite durable, Velgrind commented as she observed the battle. Normally, Agni only needs one swing of an axe to burn the enemies into cinders. The snakes are in Norse too. Lilith's voice echoed throughout the large control room. The Aesir residents have been infected and started to fight Agni and Runa. They should be able to handle them. Another report. Lilith announced again. A large serpent has destroyed its entire universe. How come we only know this now? Rimuru questioned, as they only just found out after everything was destroyed, no warning or anything. Luckily, it doesn't have any way to invade other universes. What the heck? A portal appeared in front of it. Lilith inserted the visual to the biggest screen on the control room. In front of everyone, a large serpent bigger than a world was passing through a portal. The entire room went silent. It wasn't because a threat was jumping through universe, but because someone was helping it jump through universes. We're being tested. Rimuru gritted his teeth. They're mocking us. Rimuru turned and was about to eliminate the serpent. Velgrind held him and stopped him in his tracks. Wait, you said it yourself. We're being watched, we should be more vigilant with your skills. Velgrind explained as she let go of Rimuru. I'll go. Yeah, it should be easy. I'll make it quick that they wouldn't be able to get anything. Velgrind began to walk towards the gate where the snake was going. Wait, what? Pretend you haven't noticed them watching. We'll turn it into an advantage on our side. Rimuru advised Velgrind, who nodded and left. Rimuru could only watch as the entire multiverse fight snakes. Emergency. That better be something good. Hey, I'm only announcing here, if you don't want to hear it then don't, Lilith complained. Originally she wasn't even supposed to be part of the people working on the system. She was only supposed to be building the thing. But the others weren't experienced enough for this level of calamity. Another snake-type monster. This should be the Bakunawa. It's been swallowing up all the moons and planets and continues to grow in size. Rimuru turned to Zijin and Apito, who both nodded and walked out the room. There. As much as Rimuru wants to go himself, he must remain in case someone really strong actually comes. Zijin and Apito flew towards the large serpent as it swallowed another planet. Zijin dived in with speed, planning to crash his body to the large serpent. Moon? Bakunawa noticed Zijin and opened its mouth towards him. From its mouth, a typhoon was created and fired at Zijin. Within the typhoon were sharp blades made of both water and wind. Zijin dodged by moving to the side and continues his way. Then he noticed something coming from his side. The tail of Bakunawa was coming at him like a whip. As Bakunawa was larger than an average planet, the size of the tail was large enough to be the size of a continent, and the tip of its tail to be larger than any major city. Even with its large size, the speed it showed was not normal. Zijin held up his hand to his left side, bracing for the impact to come. As the whip-like tail hit him, he flew thousands of kilometers away before stopping himself. Zijin looked towards his hands and left side of his body. Strong. Zijin actually felt numb from that hit, not only that he knew that he could not tank more than 5 of those. As he flew back to return to the fight, Apito could be seen flying all over space. Bakunawa has set its sight on her, opening its mouth to swallow her whole. Moon. Dumb snake. Poison needle. While flying, Apito fired her attacks to try to get it of her back. The serpent felt discomfort from the needles that hit its face, yet other than that it took no damage at all. The body is too large to poison. Zijin with his fist infused with magicules punched Bakunawa near the middle of its body. Ripple punch. Ga! Moon! Bakunawa screamed in pain from the impact. The attack not only punched a hole in its body. The attack was an art that caused the entire body to take damage. It turned to find the perpetrator of the pain it felt. Then, it saw Zijin preparing another punch towards the body of Bakunawa. Moon! Moon! It rushed towards Zijin with its mouth open, unlike before that shoots typhoon that pushes its enemies. The attack was now dragging Zijin towards its mouth, planning to swallow him whole. Apito, taking this as a sign from Zijin, turned and went towards Bakunawa's tail without its notice. Zijin, who was planning to punch his enemy's stomach again, was pulled towards the mouth of the large serpent. What Bakunawa didn't realize was it was a trap. Zijin changed his position and used the force that was pulling him to his advantage. In fact, he increased the speed so that he could have much more force towards Bakunawa. Moon! Zijin positioned his right fist, destructive impact. Zijin entered the mouth of Bakunawa and went out the other side of its skull. Zijin turned and saw that Bakunawa was still alive and writhing in pain. Mo! On! Moon! Bakunawa tried to use his whip-like tail to attack Zijin. Then it felt something wrong, like its tail was lighter than usual. Forgetting about me? Apito spoke as she stood beside Zijin. Apito fired a large wing blade at Bakunawa's tail at the exact moment of Zijin's attack. And because Zijin's attack was more painful, majority of its attention fell on that, ignoring the injury that befall its tail. It's over. Zijin spoke as he stretched his arm out. It started to shine, preparing to fire his best move yet. Dimensional beam. Bakunawa, who was looking at the two insectar, saw the attack coming to it. It was mesmerized by the glow and beauty of the attack, looking exactly like the shine of a full moon. Moon. Beautiful. With those words, Bakunawa, the moon-eating serpent, was killed by Zijin and Apito. We did it, Zijin-sama. Apito arrived down to where Zijin was standing. She looked happy because they were able to finish the job Rimuru gave them. They also knew that the entire fight may have been seen by Rimuru. And yet, Zijin-sama. Apito was confused as to why Zijin was frozen in place. Then a clapping sound was heard. Then and only then did Apito manage to sense the arrival of multiple insectors. And with them all was the insect king Zelus. Not bad. Zelus had 4 of his arms folded while 1 pair clapped. That thing should have been beyond you, and yet you managed to defeat it with ease. Zijin turned to look at him, so did Apito, and yet not one of them spoke. They were remaining vigilant. Not only at Zelus, the 2 insectar behind him are both giving off some murderous auras. Let's test your strength now. He stopped clapping, then the insectar behind him rushed into Zijin. With its arms, it attempted to finish of Zijin in 1 blow. Zijin managed to defend against the attack and the 2 started to fight each other. It was Zijin's brother born from Zelus himself. Due to Zelus finding out about Rimuru's forceful evolution of the two insects, he named both Zes and Pelyid as a precaution for the future. Zijin-sama. While Apito wanted to help him, she knew that she would only get in the way. Besides, another insectar came forward. This time it stopped in front of her. She looked familiar to Apito. Of course she was. She was the one that gave birth to her. It was Pelyid, the insect queen. Apito flew and backed off. She started to shoot a barrage of needles at Pelyid. In response to her onslaught, Pelyid fired of poisonous scales to counter the needles. She also started to fly and chase after Apito. Tisk. Apito was very troubled by the situation. She knows for a fact that the insectors that she and her brother are fighting are trying to kill them. As much as Zelus said that he was testing them, he was really trying to kill them. Though if he really wanted to, he could finish us himself. Apito thought as she caught with her eye that Zelus hasn't left his position. With his arms crossed he continues to observe. Zijin was getting used to fighting of his brother. Even with Zijin gaining a name and modification on his body, he mostly block and dodge and occasionally attempting to gain an upper hand by going on the offensive. A factor was more than half of his magicules were used to eliminate Bakunawa. Though I could receive some from Rimuru-sama if I wanted to, but I will not grow dependent. The insectar brother has shown signs of major injuries from his body and mostly his fists. He realized that Zijin had a very tough exoskeleton. With a glint on his eyes, he dashed towards Zijin with everything on one final blow. Zijin prepared to tank the attack and counter it. Stop. Suddenly Rimuru's voice was heard. The hell are you doing, stupid bug? Rimuru said with a glare towards Zelus. Rimuru was standing nearby Zijin, his sword in his right hand placed on his shoulder. Zelus took note the fact that blood was in the blade. The observer was killed. Zelus thought to himself. Nothing much, foolish demon. Zelus uncrossed his arms and signaled the two insectors to return to his side. While both insectars still wanted to continue, they silently obeyed the king's order. Just wanted to test them. Is that so? Rimuru looked at the wounded Apito and Zijin. Then what about I test your subordinates? Rimuru cracked his knuckles as he stared at the two behind him. How pathetic, you'd really pick a fight with my subordinates. Zelus gestures with a sigh as if belittling Rimuru. Rimuru could barely control his anger towards Zelus. He was even wondering why was he even holding back. So what, you weren't pathetic? Talk about a hypocrite bug. Hypocrite bug. This demon does not know the meaning of such simple words. Zelus shook his head. I did not attack your subordinates, it was my men that did. Is that so? Then, Rimuru faster than the speed of sound. It's you I should be tested. Rimuru with his sword and attacks Zelus. Not surprising, Zelus managed to block the attack with his weapons.